a judge down in Delaware didn't like this term, and I've never heard this before. I bet a lot of criminals would love this term, though, broad immunity. The judge rejected that flatly. You've been there before. Take us through what might have happened in the courtroom.
Sure. So judges have two approaches on guilty pleas. One is, I'm a judge. My job is to resolve disputes. And if the two sides come into my courtroom and there's no dispute between them, I'm happy to accept whatever they agree on. That's the way about 2/3 of judges look at it. The other 1/3 of the judges, in which the judge yesterday is, and where I was when I was on the bench, is, wait a minute, my job is to do the right thing. I have to make sure that the defendant isn't pleading guilty to something he didn't really do. I have to make sure that the charge for which he's pleading is constitutional, and the defendant needs to know, is this some sort of a piecemeal plea, or are there other charges coming? So when the judge yesterday began to ask these questions, do you understand that I can reject this guilty plea? Do you understand they can still charge you with other things? When she said that to him, he said, no, I don't understand they can charge me with other matters. I thought this was the end of it. That's when it became apparent that the lawyers had not adequately and accurately and in great detail communicated with each other, because, Rob, there are apparently other charges that the government is contemplating bringing against Hunter Biden. Now, in fairness to Hunter Biden, there's a principle of law called the entire controversy doctrine, and it basically means the defendant is entitled to know all the charges that the government is going to bring against him before he pleads guilty to any of them. So when the court learned that there are more charges out there, when the court decided that the gun charge might not even be constitutional under the Supreme Court's most recent gun decision,
right,
the Bruen case of about a year ago, she said, go home, get away from your client, get away from the press, see if you can work this out.
Okay, so what happens now? Could this go to trial?
The short answer to could this go to trial is yes. What happens now is the government's lawyers and Hunter Biden's lawyers will get together. The government will lay out all the evidence of everything they have against him, and they'll try and craft a universal deal, a deal that addresses all the charges. What are the other charges? They're quite serious. The other charges are that he may have been acting as an agent of a foreign government, and he didn't register with the federal government. People go to jail for that.
Yeah, happened just recently. Just a quick one. So the judge said, random drug testing will be implemented. Can't be on drugs. No more drinking. I thought this was fascinating. She said you got to get a job. Would his painting qualify? What does that mean?
Well, a job means that you do work for income. It's funny you should say that. I've been scratching my head. What does this guy do for a living?
Right.
I have no idea. But one of the requirements, the typical traditional requirement of letting somebody out on bail who's been charged with a felony is you have to have meaningful work. Now, I don't know if he's going to go out and pump gas or if he's going to sweep up the White House, but he's got to have a job
right,
with some income coming in order to justify the terms of the bail.